What's up, everybody? It's Young here, and welcome to a first impressions of Uncharted 4. So behind me is a booth. It's actually 3 booths in one, where you can go in and watch 3 of the most highly anticipated PlayStation 4 games in a row. So we have Horizon, we have The Last Guardian, and we have Uncharted 4. And the first game that I want to talk about is Uncharted 4, because that's the game I came out most impressed with. So I have a bunch of notes here that I just typed as I was watching this incredible awesomeness unfold. So I'm just gonna kind of read them out to you and just kind of give you guys some details on what I saw. I don't know what they showed off at E3 because I couldn't watch it. I was at the airport and I was mostly focusing on Metal Gear. So this is what I got from it. So it starts with a shot of a statue of a captain or a pirate of sorts. And I know this game has a lot to do with pirates, something about Madagascar and pirates there, so that's all I know about the plot, so you shouldn't ask me about plot. I don't know much about it, which is good because I don't want to be spoiled. And then from that shot, it kind of zooms out, and then we see Nathan Drake and Sully sort of making their way out of this ruin where the statue resides, and they are in Madagascar, I believe. They're in this sprawling city, and the graphics look absolutely incredible. I mean, this is the first time I have seen a game that looks like it's a CG movie come to life. I don't say that lightly. I've seen a lot of great games, and in fact, games like Metal Gear Solid 5, which I think looks beautiful, even that I don't think it's quite a CG movie come to life. It's very close, but not quite there. Uncharted 4, it is there. I'm telling you right now, the presentation, the cinematics, it is top notch. It is some of the best I've ever seen, and Uncharted 4 is probably the game that I went away most blown away with out of the 3, so just letting you know. So, graphics are absolutely incredible. They are looking for something called Sam's Tower. I know Sam is Nathan's brother, so they look at Sam's Tower and say, yeah, that's Sam's Tower, and they start heading over there, Sully and Drake, Nathan Drake. Yeah, so they're in the city, it's bustling, it's alive, there's tons of people, there's no like pop-in, which is incredible when you consider just how amazing the vistas are. I'm sure they do some kind of technique to hide that stuff very well, but I didn't see any sort of pop-in, and the vistas and the scale is incredibly huge. And then eventually they're walking down the street, and then gunshots start to happen, and then a firefight ensues, and the firefights, the gameplay looks just better than ever before. It's refined clearly. I mean, I haven't played it, so I wouldn't know, but you know, it's come a long way from Uncharted 1, that's for sure. So, and there's a lot of in-game dialogue as all of this is happening, as is traditional with a Naughty Dog game. A lot of snarky remarks from Nathan, which is just kind of who he is. Lots of destructible, movable environment stuff. It's incredible, just you're shooting and you see all the things flying around, and all the objects react naturally. They react like it would in real life, and it really sells the fact that this could be a real life setting. This could be something real happening in a movie or something. It's pretty freaking incredible. So Nathan is using his AK-47. He's running around shooting people, and then out of nowhere, this armored vehicle with a Gatling gun comes in, starts tearing through everything. You see stuff in the environment just flying everywhere. Just incredible, absolutely incredible presentation. And so Drake is just shooting people, and one cool maneuver that he does is he goes up a roof, and there's an enemy below, so he jumps, he punches the guy in the face, the gun flips in the air, and he just grabs it, and he goes, thank you. You know, he just kind of gives off the snarky, like, yeah, thanks, kind of remark, and he just goes around and starts shooting again. Just very seamless, smooth, very Indiana Jones action set piece style. It is just absolutely incredible. Just little things like that make this game an absolute joy. So after that happens, Nathan Drake, he grabs an enemy or something. Oh, right, an enemy grabs Nathan Drake, and he's being held down, he's being chokeholded, and he's being beaten up by another dude. So he's being held by one and then being beaten up by another dude. He has to, the player has to mash triangle to get away from it, but as that happens, Sully comes in and just kind of punches the other guy, helps him out, and so eventually Nathan manages to get loose. So that was actually a pretty cool sequence. I played Uncharted 1 and half of 2. Not exactly sure if the previous games had anything similar. I'm sure it did. But here it looks very dynamic, very cinematic, and just absolutely amazing. So let's see, right, so players have to mash triangle. Okay, so after that happens, they eventually find a Jeep, they get on it and kind of start heading towards Sam, and they start making their way down the town, down the road, and I mean, shit's going crazy at this point. Chaos is ensuing, they're crashing into everything, stuff, you know, reacts realistically, just everything in terms of presentation here is top notch, the best I have ever seen in gaming, period. And if the final game can live up to this, then it is easily a contender for Game of the Year. So yeah, the graphics are maintained as the high-speed chase is happening, and that's incredible. I didn't see any pop-in, you know, as the car was racing down the street, there was no pop-in. Everything just kind of maintained. There was no lowering of graphics to make up for the speed at which the player is traversing the world. Everything just kind of worked. As this was happening, the armored truck with the machine gun comes in out of nowhere and continues to pursue Nathan Drake across this sprawling environment. And I wrote down, I mean, seriously, this game looks beautiful. I cannot emphasize that enough. This game is literally the best game I've ever seen graphically, I mean, ever, in the history of gaming, and I don't say that lightly. So the amount of destruction that occurs is incredible. Every object reacts realistically, you know, so I keep repeating the same things, but it's just, I'm so amazed at all the minute details in the graphics. Now, something that I wrote down is hard to say how dynamic this chase is. So basically what that means is I can't tell if this is a linear chase or if this is actually being, you know, if this is actually linear or being scripted, or if it's like open world kind of thing where you can take multiple routes. Because even if it is linear, the game hides that really well. I mean, the chase by itself, it looked very dynamic, like things were just happening organically rather than things being scripted. That's the feeling that I got, but I'm sure there is some linear elements to it, but they hide it really well, so kudos to them for that. So lots of stunts. The car, you know, it goes in all kinds of environments. It goes up and down stairs, it jumps on ramps, all these crazy stunts. At one point, they are riding on rooftops, leaping from rooftop to rooftop, and it's insane. It's insanely awesome. And then eventually, as they're going along the Jeep, they spot Sam. He's being chased. He's on a motorcycle, and he's being chased by a bunch of other motorcycles and a truck, or not a truck, like 2 or 3 trucks. And so he's in deep shit. So they continue to, Nathan and Sully continue to make chase with the Jeep, and they eventually get to the wetlands or something. It's like all muddy and kind of disgusting, but the water effects and the way it reflects everything is absolutely beautiful, realistic. I don't know how they did it. I don't know what it is that makes this one more realistic than the other ones, but when I just look at it, it looks real. It looks insanely real. So they keep going through the wetlands, and they're following this bridge where Sam is being pursued. This is the bridge, and then down here is sort of where the wetlands is at, below the bridge, and so it's like Sam is being chased up here, Nathan is following down here, something along those lines. And then, at one point, what happens is they get to a dead end. They're at some kind of port or something, and they can't, you know, continue pursuing. So what Nathan does is he drives, and then he uses the grappling hook to hook on one of the enemy trucks, and as the truck stops, it breaks, Nathan just leaps out, uses the grappling hook, grabs onto the truck, and then he starts being dragged through the bridge. And so he's hanging, so here's the bridge, and he's hanging like down here. He's just hanging and going along with the truck. It is awesome. So after that happens, so Drake is holding on, and eventually the truck also gets into the wetlands, and at that point, Drake kind of drops to the ground and he starts being dragged through the mud. And you can see all the mud getting on his shirt, on his face, all over his body, just super dynamic, super realistic. And as he's being dragged, you can see the mud kind of splattering all over the camera. You can see the mud itself just kind of reacting realistically to Nathan Drake being dragged, and just little details like that sell this game, sell the fact that this may be something that is happening, in the real world, if that makes any sense, in a real movie. Clothes are all full of mud, incredibly realistic, and then eventually Nathan Drake manages to use the grappling hook to drag himself onto the truck, and from there he starts shooting at all the enemies around him. He takes care of the guys in the truck, and there are a bunch of motorcycles around him. He shoots every single one of them. The player that is, they all explode, whatever. And the enemies are smart. So what they will do is the motorcycles in particular, if they approach the vehicle that Nathan Drake is on, one of the guys, so there's two guys, one in front driving and then one guy riding in the back. The guy in the back will jump and leap onto the truck and then try to pursue Nathan Drake that way, but the player manages to make quick work of that. But they will do stuff like that, which is incredible. And it looks very fluid, it looks natural. So once that happens, so eventually Nathan Drake, after being on the truck long enough, at one point he leaps onto an enemy Jeep, and from there he starts, he's being chased by other motorcycles. So from the Jeep, he's kind of taking care of everyone. He's shooting left and right and back and forth, and just fucking wrecking everything. And eventually, Nathan Drake catches up to Sam, who is on a motorcycle, and he's being pursued by other motorcycles and whatnot. And then, he kind of makes work of everyone. He manages to kill all the enemies. And as soon as they think they're safe, Nathan Drake is driving with the Jeep, Sam is driving with the motorcycle. A truck crashes into Nathan Drake's Jeep. Sam manages to brake in time, so he's fine. And then we get into one of those Nathan Drake is in a pinch sequences where you have to, use button prompts and contextual actions to get away from a very tight and kind of problematic scenario. So he's in the truck, it's crashed, it's flipped over, and it starts setting on fire. And let me tell you, the fire in this game is the most realistic fire I have ever seen. And that I also don't say lightly. I've seen some pretty good damn fire effects. Nothing beats what I've seen in Uncharted 4. Just presentation and graphically, I'm telling you, nothing beats Uncharted 4, and that's something that I can definitely say 99.9%. So I'm gonna keep saying it because it's true. Eventually the player manages to get out, using the triangle button and stuff. So Nathan Drake punches the door open. There are two guys out. He, shoots them both. That's pretty much how it ends. And then, actually, no, that's not how it ends. After that happens, Nathan Drake gets out of the car, the crashed car, and then the armored truck appears again. And before he can kill him, though, before it can kill Nathan, that is, Sam comes in with a motorcycle. Nathan gets on, hops on, and then they start going down another freaking car chase, this time with the motorcycle and the armored truck behind them, just wrecking shit with the Gatling gun. Fucking exciting, the camera angle, super cinematic, Sam is driving, Nathan Drake focuses on aiming and shooting, and it's just incredible, just the amount of environment and variety that they go through. They eventually get to a point where they kind of run into a port, into like a shipping port. I don't know if that's what it's called. And those giant crates, the containers, there's a bunch of those. And at one point, Sam, he uses the motorcycle to, my voice is cracking a lot, I know, but I'm just excited, I'm screaming. But anyway, so Sam drives the motorcycle into an open container and goes out the other end. The truck tries to pursue, but of course it's too big and it just crashes. And there's just this giant sparkling like explosion, but the armored truck is still alive and it continues to make chase. And eventually, they continue to drive through obstacles, so the truck keeps crashing onto things, and eventually the armored truck can't take anymore, and it just fucking explodes into a million pieces. Beautiful particle effects, beautiful explosions, and that's pretty much how the demo ends. They give off some snarky remark, and they're like, yeah, whatever, another day, and they just kind of ride away with the motorcycle. And then it cuts to a cutscene that is, I'm assuming it's an in-game cutscene, because honestly, there's no difference graphically between the amazing looking cutscenes and the amazing looking game. So they cut to a scene where Sam and Nathan pull up at a motel, and then Sam pulls out a journal. He starts talking about some kind of cipher and how that leads to a treasure. Sully comes and he's like, hey, you guys are alive. And then they all start discussing the treasure. And then eventually, after they talk outside, Nathan Drake goes into the motel. He's all like, yeah, this treasure, we're gonna be rich. And then he looks inside and he's like, oh shit. And then inside is Elena, who, according to what I've heard, he is supposed to be married to. He is married to, and they're supposed to settle down, not do any of this shit anymore. But she is clearly upset because that arrangement wasn't kept by Nathan Drake, because he just can't seem to keep himself away from trouble. So she's very upset. She's like, she's looking at all the maps and shit that's scattered across the room, and she looks at Nathan Drake and I don't know, gives him some kind of disapproving remark. I forget what it was, and cuts to black, 2016, and that's how the demo ends. And I don't know if this is the same demo that was shown at the Sony press conference, whatever, but this is the first time I saw Uncharted 4 in action, and it is the game that blew me away the most. I love MGS5, but I know already so much about it that it didn't quite blow me away as much. It really impressed me, but with Uncharted 4, it was kind of a blank slate for me coming into this. I saw some of the gameplay stuff they showed before, but it was just all new to me, and it was amazing, it was beautiful, and I couldn't have it any other way. This was awesome, and Uncharted 4, I think, is my game of E3 2015. And with that, I would like to end this discussion video. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know in the comments below your thoughts on Uncharted 4, if you were at E3 or if you saw the gameplay stuff in one of the conferences. Just let me know what you think of Uncharted 4. I think it's incredible. I think it's easily a contender for Game of the Year, and it's my personal game of E3 2015. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.